Real world assets and DePin, aka decentralized physical infrastructure networks, has been and I think will continue to be a huge narrative going into this bull market. And in this video, we're going to be covering a project called Zebec that sits between both of those narratives. So per usual, this is going to be an in-depth fundamental analysis. We're going to go through what problems they're solving. We're going to go through their team. We're going to go through their white paper. We're going to go through their audits. We're going to go through the tokenomics, literally everything. And at the end, if you stick around, I'm going to tell you guys if I'm buying this project or not and why. Guys, I know I'm in a different background pretty much every video I make. Right now I am in Florence, Italy. I'm feeling like a real Renaissance man. I might have saw the coolest cathedral or building that I've ever seen in my life. The vibe of this town is really bustling. It feels like San Francisco in the 1500s or something. But I digress. Per usual, none of this is financial advice. It's for your education purposes only. Let's dive straight into the video, starting with the white paper. So here's the notes. It says, welcome to Zebec. Our decentralized infrastructure network is built to create a future where real world moves freely and seamlessly, giving individuals, businesses, investors, and teams immediate access to funds and tokens, providing immediate financial control and fostering more inclusive and accessible financial environment. Zebec's integrated products, real-time payroll apps, on-chain payments infrastructure, and networked DePin serve companies of all sizes, merchants, and individuals to help transcend the boundaries of traditional banking and diminish the role of financial intermediaries. Our mission at the core is to deliver transformative blockchain-based consumer applications that significantly impact and improve people's lives. So before we get into it, they did have a token migration, and the goal was to have more tokens so they can incentivize more liquidity. This went into effect in May. So if you're holding Zebec and you haven't done this, you might want to give this a look-see, but I'll leave that for you guys to read. Let's jump into the white paper. All right, so here we are, white paper version 3.1. All right, so we kind of already talked about their mission. They were founded in 2021 with $35 million in investment capital from investors like Circle, Coinbase, and Solana Ventures. That's a good sign. Those are all reputable firms. The products, payroll, crypto cards, DePin, retail payment ecosystem, and treasury tools for Web 2 and Web 3 companies. We're going to go through all of these. Zebec runs on Solana. They have multi-chain support, which means they work on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Sui, and Tron. And in regards to the ZBCN token, it's used for governance, and it's a utility token with staking rewards, real-life utility via cards, and recurrent buybacks and VIP perks, all of which we're going to go through. So it says here, since its inception, Zebec has been at the forefront of decentralized finance, applying blockchain efficiencies to real-world payments and payroll flows. Traditional financial systems are often burdened with high transaction fees, slow processing times, and reliance on intermediaries that can create bottlenecks and reduce transparency. This is especially problematic in the context of global payments, payroll systems, and real-time financial transactions, where the need for speed, efficiency, and security is paramount. Zebec addresses these challenges using its pioneering multi-blockchain infrastructure, which is capable of powering uninterrupted and secure flows of real-world value. This infrastructure and technology drastically increases the scale and speed of real-time payments and greatly reduces fees to provide consumers and businesses with complete control over their financial affairs, fostering a more dynamic and responsive economic interaction, dismantling traditional barriers, allowing for more fluid movement of capital, and empowering businesses to operate globally with reduced overhead and greater scalability. Guys, before I continue with this white paper, I have to say, this shit is fluffy. Man, it seems like they're saying all this general stuff throughout the entire white paper, so I really had to dig in to make sure I'm really understanding what's happening. So that is one thing that kind of, I'm not going to say rubbed me the wrong way, but it's just really fluffy. So I'm going to skip through a lot of this and try to just give you the most important things. But I do think it's a good product in what they're doing. So in regards to the payroll, this is what they're talking about first here. It says they invest into traditional payroll service companies through its USA-based investment firm, Payroll Growth Partners, or PGP, and that is rapidly expanding and licensed to operate across multiple states, positioning Zebec to blend cutting-edge blockchain technology into conventional payroll services effectively. This initiative includes direct integrations and partnerships with major financial platforms like Circle and Stellar, through which Zebec enables features such as USDC payroll and near zero cost cross-border remittances. That's a tongue twister right there. Since 2003, they've launched several crypto payment cards, allowing users to seamlessly and instantly spend their crypto in their chosen fiat currencies on everyday purchases. Which means if you have Solana and ETH or whatever in your wallet where you hold in your card, right? So with your card, you have a wallet attached to it. It converts whatever altcoin you have into the currency that's being spent at the time of purchase. So for example, if you're in America, It'll convert your Ethereum or your Solana into USDC so that the merchant doesn't have to receive crypto and then create a taxable event to exchange that crypto for cash so that they can then have it in their bank account. So current lineup includes a prepaid Zebec Silver card, formerly Zebec Instant, the industry's first non-custodial, multi-chain, zero-fee card, which means you still hold the custody. So it sounds like when you have this card, you have your own wallet connected to it where you're holding the funds, not the company. Most card companies, they actually hold the funds for you, and there's pros and cons to that. Number 2 is the Zebec Black card with the reloadable debit card with no spending limit with additional card products in the pipeline. These cards are supported by a global MasterCard network and can be added to Apple Pay and Google Pay and are accepted worldwide for retail and online purchases. These cards have direct integrations with over 150 tokens, including blue chips and the hottest meme projects. So imagine you got you buy a meme coin, you get 100x, you throw it on the card and you can spend it whenever you want. Now, obviously I would advise to take profit on these coins if you get a huge gain. But if it's something that you're just holding and you want to spend, then hey, by all means. This, I think, is more of a market ploy. Like, really think about it. We don't spend our stocks like that, right? If you have stocks in your portfolio, you're holding the stocks. Like, you're not going to connect your Apple stock to your card and then, like, you're selling your Apple stock at the time of purchase. That doesn't make sense, and people don't do that for a reason. So you really want to be able to see through things like that. Like, that's, I believe, just a market ploy. It's not a normal thing people do with any asset, really. So it's across 8 chains, and they're now offering, as an industry first, custom branded cards through its white label program rolled out last year, 2024. So, if you have a company and you want to launch your own card, they allow you to do that. It says they also explored building their own layer 3 chain. I'm not sure what layer 3 is. I'm familiar with layerzero, layer 1, layer 2, but layer 3, I don't know if they're just trying to coin a term. But yeah, not sure about that one. Here's another key point here. It says Zebec's earlier technology allowed for the facilitation of microtransactions with negligible fees, supporting innovative applications like real-time payroll systems. In these systems, employees can access their earnings on a second-by-second basis, significantly enhancing transparency and control for both employers and employees. This technology has paved the way for a wide array of financial services that capitalize on blockchain technology to boost efficiency and empower users. Now, this I really like. So imagine you're a W-2 employee and you get paid every 2 weeks or every week. Well, with blockchain technology, since fees are so cheap and everything can be tracked in real time versus the traditional payment rails that are being used, they don't operate like that. They're slow and clunky. You can get paid on a block by block basis, right? So you work for 4 hours, you go to take your lunch break, your 4 hours that you work, you already got that in your wallet. Now, there's a downside to this because most people in the world, they don't have good spending habits. So it's likely that people will spend more money and, maybe not have it for important bills and stuff like that. But that's where budgeting comes into play and will help a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of people who miss payments on cars, on houses, and they lose their assets because they have to wait to get paid. Having something like this, you get paid on a per block basis. You're just getting paid in real time. I think that's really dope. And I think that will solve a lot of problems for people. Okay, so now this is more talking about their DePin product. So I want to explain this in case you don't know what it is. DePin stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. To understand that, you need to understand traditional infrastructure networks. So like, for example, a well-known infrastructure network is cell phone towers, right? If you have a cell phone tower, you're providing signals to people. You get paid as people are having their phones connect to that tower, right? And you have towers all over the place, but it's centralized because T-Mobile owns towers, Verizon owns towers, AT&T owns towers. Decentralized physical infrastructure networks, so like if you look at the model I just explained, now there's a project called Helium where instead of you having we know everyone uses phones, everyone would love to have a cell phone tower and get passive income. Well, Helium allows you to use your phone as like a cell tower, and anytime someone is within range, they can connect to the Helium Wi-Fi, and if your phone's the closest, they're using yours, and you get paid Helium tokens as they're using the data that you're allowing them to use. So that's decentralized physical infrastructure networks. All the traditional infrastructure networks projects are coming out with decentralized ways for people to provide that infrastructure. So now that you have context, let's kind of talk about this. So this is like their AI layer as well. So it says they're employing the latest and most advanced AI-powered tools and practices available. Their abstraction layer ensures that All on and off chain interactions within their tech stack are secure, efficient, and compliant through the Zebec network. And it says Zebec AI is a crucial security layer within the Zebec network, enhancing integrity and compliance of its blockchain applications, including real-world asset flows and decentralized physical infrastructure, leveraging artificial intelligence. Zai performs real-time transaction monitoring and fraud detection, essential for maintaining privacy and meeting global compliance standards like anti-money laundering. Embedded directly within the platform, Zai's feature ensures robust protection across all transactions, scalability of security measures as the Zebec ecosystem and businesses it serves expand, and it not only secures transactions against external threats and internal inconsistencies, but also provides businesses and individuals with actionable insights through a comprehensive dashboard, facilitating effective compliance and financial management as the network grows. So that sounds like cybersecurity. So you're able to host your system and keep it secure all in one place, is what they're saying. And we're going to dive into all this. This gives you the TLDR on the Zebec Pay again. So we talked about the real-time payroll. Employees get paid per second, or it's per block, right? It expands payroll from fiat to USDC, and it integrates with traditional payroll services, which is huge. Transforming Web 2 payroll. This part is key. It says, moreover, Zebec Pay app is capable of integrating blockchain technology into traditional payroll services and expanding USD payroll to payroll in USDC. So USD is regular dollars, USDC is dollars on the blockchain, and this makes it ideal for businesses that employ diverse and distributed global teams. So if you have teams all over the world and you're having to pay them in dollars or different currencies, you have to pay like remittance fees and all kinds of fees because there's so many banks involved versus just using USDC and they can turn it back into whatever currency that they want. It's cheaper for them, it's cheaper for you, and it's faster for both parties as well. And they do all this stuff on their super app. So it says Zebec Pay is the evolution of everything we've built so far. It's a super app that merges payroll, payments, and card functionality into a single seamless platform. This means businesses can handle salary, streaming payments, crypto to fiat swaps, and even rewards in one place. It's a major step towards mainstream adoption of on-chain financial tools. So now they're talking about their DePin product called Zepin. Pretty cool name. So it says it's an ecosystem of IoT, Internet of Things, enabled hardware, proprietary software, and Zebec's payment infrastructure built to facilitate seamless crypto payments through interconnected physical devices and retail settings. So it sounds like they're allowing the payments and the payroll and all these things to flow through the signals of other people's hardware. So it says it's conceived not as simply as a device or singular product, rather a system that combines hardware with Zebec's custom software, HCM integration, and the Zebec's payroll app connectivity. The initial rollout focuses on medium-sized US companies already using Zebec's payroll services, allowing employees to use crypto for purchases at the workplace, establishments, and providing a seamless payment experience. Pilot rollout also includes live demos and hands-on training sessions to encourage use and adoption. Having hands-on training sessions is very, very important. I worked in credit card processing for 3 years. I actually still do. If you're looking for a way to eliminate all your credit card processing fees, charge those fees to the customer, and turn your credit card processing bill from an expense to a profit, hit up your boy. Anyway, I remember when I was really doing this full time, there was a lot of times where I had deals fall through because employees didn't know how to use it. So once we started implementing training and not just showing the owner of the business how to use the system, because they're not always working at the store, if you're showing the employees, that's huge. So that will help them grow a lot. And I know that firsthand. And I like how they're integrating all of their products. That's really good too. Okay, so now we're starting to get into the tokenomics. So they talk about the governance and the utility of the token, powers the on-chain voting and ecosystem decisions, staking and collateral and DeFi integrations, recurrent buybacks tied to product revenue, which reduces circulating supply. So basically the more money they make, the company Zebec will buy back their own tokens and burn them. And from a supply and demand perspective, when you eliminate a certain amount of supply, the rest that are still in circulation become more valuable because it's less of them. And then they have rewards and incentives to users of the Zebec network services and products and to the ZBCN holders, and offering grants for ecosystem contributors. As a governance token, you get to vote on critical decisions that affect the network. Their influence is proportional to the amount of ZBCN tokens that you hold. So the more tokens you hold, the more power you get. So basically, the more skin you have in the game, the more you have a say on what happens with what they're doing. So now this is like, this shows the tokenomics and who got what in regards to the tokens. So the community got 50%, which I like. 20% went to contributors, which are investors. private sale, seed sale. These are all investors, right? Market making is allowing for the token to be traded back and forth so that it's liquidity for people to buy without slippage. Right now, if we look here, you see the cliff in the vesting period. Lockup is another word for cliff. If you have a 1 year cliff, that means you can't sell the token for that whole year. Vesting means this is the period at which it's unlocked. So if you have a vesting period of 3 years, and let's say you got 100 tokens, that means 33% or so is unlocked every 3 years if you're doing a yearly vesting unlock. So 6-month cliff. And if we look at their token, the token was released in September 2024. No, the token was released in April of 2024. So that means October 2024, now people can sell tokens, right? So over the next 3 years, starting from when the token was released, or starting from the unlock, I believe, people can sell their tokens basically. And it says here they're trying to go to a DAO model, which makes sense. Talk about the utility, the staking, we already went over that. They go over the details of the buyback program and the in real life utility. So all current and upcoming Zebec cards that facilitate crypto spend and fiat can be funded in ZBC and tokens, along with the other 150 tokens, and spent real life for everyday purchases. Now, this is more of a goal. I haven't seen anywhere where you can use this token as collateral and then borrow against it. But, it is a lofty goal. And, here's another snapshot of the utility of the token. Here's the incentive for the holders. So you get VIP access to premium products with no fees. Plus, you get reduced fees for the Zebec app features, right? So treasury, streaming, and priority access to the card products and exclusive promotions and rewards campaigns. You get access to exclusive airdrops and incentives from partner projects. So these projects right here where they have integrations with, you get some kind of benefit. And you get access to events, when and if they start to have them. So that's all fine and dandy, but let's really look into this. So if we look here, you can see that Zebec has a market cap of $472,747,262. And then they have a fully diluted valuation of $547,744,939. So that means there's a disparity of $74,997,677. So it's almost $75 million worth of tokens that have to get unlocked and the potential to be sold. So we want to find out when these can be sold, because that's how you determine, or part of the way if you determine if it's a good investment or not. So if we scroll down, you can see this is the inflation schedule. So it's a linear vesting. So as time goes along, more and more tokens are being unlocked. And you guys have to keep in mind that their investors, through their seed, private, and public investors, they have a fiduciary responsibility to generate returns for their limited partners. So they're going to want to take some profits. So they're your competition. So as this continues to rise, they're most likely going to be selling. Some people will hold, but for sure, some people will be selling. Now, 74 million tokens isn't a whole lot, right? It's not too bad. I've seen a lot worse, but it's just good to keep in mind. And if we scroll down here, you can see that these are the exchanges that they're listed on. So OKX, Baguette, KuCoin, they're not listed on Coinbase or Gemini, nothing crazy just yet. So they have a lot of liquidity on centralized exchanges. They have some liquidity on decentralized exchanges as well, but not as much, right? And you can see the trading volume is not that high. If we just click DEX, 24-hour trading volume, not even $1 million, but these are all different pairs. So accumulatively, it's a few $1 million a day in trading volume, which isn't bad, but it's not a hell of a whole lot of liquidity for the DEX. But this is good because it means it's a lot of different holders on a lot of different places. It's hard to really aggregate them all because if it was all in the DEX, I'll be able to go on DEX Screener and see all the holders, and how much they made. But this kind of makes it just a little bit more complicated. And then here's their roadmap where they're talking about what they're trying to do with all of their products, right? And I'll let you guys just kind of read through all of that. I'm trying to keep this video somewhat short, but it's good that they have a direction on where they're going. And that's the whole white paper. So now let's look into their socials, their website, and some other things. So we check them out on Twitter. They have 280,000 followers. They've been on Twitter since 2021. They get some pretty good interaction, over 1,000 likes per post, give or take, right? So that's good. Their Discord has 46,000 members, but only 869 online. So pretty large community, but it may not be the most active. in the Discord at least. Over 25,000 members in their Telegram. They even have an Instagram. Most crypto projects don't have Instagram, so I think that's pretty cool. 69,000 followers on Instagram. So they're really taking marketing serious, which I like. They even have a YouTube channel where they have 3.8 thousand subscribers. And if you click videos, you know, they're coming on, they're talking, right? They have podcasts, so you know, they're really out there, which I like. If we look at the team, they do have the team here. I wish they would have put like links to their LinkedIn or whatever, but I went ahead and went on LinkedIn to see if we can find them. And if you scroll down here, you know, they said Sam was the CEO. I don't see Sam on here, right? I don't see Sam. Simon, let's see if we can find Simon. Don't see Simon either, right? So it's kind of hard to verify their past experience and what they've done. That's one thing I don't like. The team is probably the most important thing. You can have the best vehicle ever. They say, you know, it's the driver, not the car. It's the same thing with the company. It's the people who are behind the curtains pulling the strings. It doesn't matter how good a product is. If you don't have a good team behind it, it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying this team isn't good or not, but I can't verify it. And, you know, in crypto, we say verification over trust. So now, this is their website. Website's pretty clean. You know, they talk about pretty much all the stuff that we talked about in the white paper. Right now, let's look at their products. And these are their advisors as well, their partners, right? Let's look at their actual products. So if we click the cards, you can go ahead and get you a card here, right? And we already talked about what all these cards do. RWA payments. So you look at this here. This is like their real-time payroll, get paid by the second, right? They talked about all the stuff we just read in the white paper as well. And this is through an app called WageLink. So if I go ahead and launch the app, see here, launch on Solana. And this is like the interface. I don't want to connect my wallet to this, but the interface looks pretty clean, right? So it looks like just a traditional payroll interface. Sorry for the sirens. If we look at their DePin product, remember this is Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. This is their POS system. And I'm guessing like if you're connected to Wi-Fi, people who are using their other products and they need service, you can lend them your network and you get paid in ZBCN tokens. So they talk about all that stuff here that we pretty much went over in the white paper. Again, here's some of the growth metrics. They've only done 467 transactions. I still have a few credit card processing clients, liquor stores, retail stores. They're doing this amount of transactions within like a day sometimes. So not a lot of growth here yet. They got 10 of them installed and only $3,578 in volume and 60,000 ZBCN rewarded. The price of that right now is what? Not even a penny. So they have a ways to go here, right? But it's the beginning. They're growing. Hey, it's okay, but it's good to be aware that the growth metrics aren't there yet for this product. And I don't have a way of verifying the growth metrics for the cards as well. I don't know how many cards they have outstanding. And then if we look at the vaults, they're talking about how the funds are stored in a multi-signature wallet. And also this is their WageLink app for the payroll. So you scroll down here, 4.8 reviews, but they only have 54 ratings. So not a lot of growth here. Their products, this is their PGP. Remember we talked about payroll growth partners. So they are still growing, it seems like, in all of their products. And I would imagine that since they're not showing the card metrics, it might be even less than the others. That's just my guess, though. I could be wrong. So now, the most important thing for a technology product, especially one that's like handling your money in so many regards, is a smart contract audit. And normally in an audit, especially when you get the first ones, there's vulnerabilities that need to be fixed. They have to get it audited again. And then once it's audited again, they have those things fixed, and then boom, that checks the boxes. So if I pull up their GitHub and I scroll down, so this is the Trail of Bits audit from September 8th, 2022. It's a long time ago. So if you scroll through all this, so they had some, this is their summary of findings, right? So it says the audit uncovered flaws that can impact the system confidentially, integrity, or availability. Here's the summary. So they had some weak points, some strong points, moderate, weak, moderate, right? I don't want to use anything that is used for my money to be weak, guys. I'm sorry. Low, medium, right? They have a lot of issues here. This is from 2022, right? And if I go here, this is their master audit. This is also from 2022. They had a lot of things in here that were like, you know, not strong, right? Multi-sig escrow, don't track associated multi-sig leading to authorized signatures. If I'm investing in something, I want everything to be super strong, right? So, and I didn't see they didn't run back through this firm. So let's see this other one. And this is Certic. This is 3 years ago, right? This was 2021. So they haven't had an audit since 2022, which means there are vulnerabilities in here. This one, they had informational vulnerabilities, but they didn't have any of them resolved. But this was the older one. So I guess the most recent one that we just went through, the first one, there were still vulnerabilities on there, and they haven't had an audit since then, or at least that they posted. Maybe they're working on one. So it's still vulnerabilities at play that needs to be fixed, is what I'm seeing. So now that you stuck around to end, am I buying this project or not, and why? I love what they're doing. I love how they're integrating everything. You know, I even like that they're built on Solana because they're trying to do fast transactions, even though I think they could have built on another layer too. I'm not the biggest fan of Solana, but a lot of people are building on it. I'm not buying it. It is on my radar though. The reason why I'm not is because, you know, we just went through the audit situation. That's the most important thing. They need to have everything checked off, especially if they're moving money from a payroll perspective, from cards, like all these different things. That is a huge thing for me, especially from a person who experienced a hack. And two, I can't verify the team's credibility. Those are like the two most important things that you're looking at when you're researching a product. So for those reasons, like Mark Cuban says, I'm out. It is on my radar. I'm going to do some more dig and see if I can find some more stuff about the team, maybe their Twitters and stuff like that. Wasn't able to. So yeah, team, if you're watching this, if I missed anything, let me know. I'd love to have you on for an interview. But with that, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what RWA projects you guys want me to cover next. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you who tuned in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and trade safe.